Really better after parking. I have to tell you that. I really have to tell you that. As soon as we got off the parking for that hour, it got so much better. Perry Belfiore, 161 11th Street. When I spoke last time, Ravi, in his inimitable style, said, and everything he said is true. And of course it was sarcasm, because Ravi wouldn't know the truth if it hit him in the face. All right. If anything, I left out some facts. In 2008, Ravi was cited for pay-to-play violations in Union City. In 2010, redundant in Newark. Ravi was cited by the Bar Association for trust account violations. He didn't file 3 years of mandatory pay-to-play. And you know what? You don't care. None of you really care. You don't. You don't question him. You don't push him. You don't say, how could you sit next to me, you piece of slime? You don't. You really, really don't. You don't hold him accountable, yet you went to law school. You might have been culpable on a quid pro quo down at the Housing Authority. Let's go over the Housing Authority. What happened down at the Housing Authority? Yeah, drink up, my friend. The executive director was riced. Why was he riced? Because he would not acquiesce to giving up procurement. It's the right of every director. It's the right of every mayor. It's checks and balances. She proposes, you dispose. It's the way government works. All right? That's the way it works. However, in this case, they wanted to take that ability away from Carmelo. It's the nub of the lawsuit. If you don't know the lawsuit, that's the nub of the lawsuit. And who did they have in mind to appoint? Ravi's firm. Ravi's firm. If that's not a quid pro quo, it does not exist. It does not exist. He traded your vote for his contract. Whether you knew it or not, that's what he did. And he's smiling about it. You know why, David? You want to do nothing about it. You want to sit here and you're going to take a beating for a man who doesn't give a shit about you. That all he cares about is the bottom dollar in his pocket. And he is denigrating public service, something that I fought most of my life to make better. I fought most of my life to make better. And you're sitting here, Jen, he's your ally. Talk to him. Peter, he's your ally. Kick him in the ass. Dave, don't ever take his advice again. Because when he goes away, you look complicit. You look complicit in this. Melissa writes a letter saying that Charlie Dagnan shouldn't have been up on the dais. Who asked her to write a letter? How was she involved? She's corporation counsel for the city of Hoboken. She's corporation counsel for the city of Hoboken. Who called her? Dave, did you call her? No. All right. You called her, right? You called her. We all know who called her. You called her. You had to call her. Because nobody else would call Melissa. Why would Melissa give an opinion on something that happened down at the Housing Authority unless you called her? That's how much you wanted that contract. Now the question is that this is a stage. It's a set. That's what this is. All the deals have already been cut. Everybody, you know how you vote when you come down. You stand calls, this is how you're voting, this is how you're voting, this is how you're voting. You got the script. What we need here is independent verification by newspapers. We have chroniclers. And what was said was. Nobody takes. Nobody questions. Did anybody ask Ravi when he started talking to Florio Perucci? Do we know that? Should I have to ask that? Should he be sworn as to when that conversation began? If a conflict of interest is the appearance of a conflict of interest, hasn't he busted that one wide open? Isn't that one gone? I mean, hasn't he really? Isn't he in a conflict? Come on. Come on. We can all agree he's in a conflict. Is he benefiting from the conflict? You bet your 2 G's. And everybody's sitting there, mum. You're sitting there, mum, Peter. You're sitting there, mum, Jen. You're sitting there, mum, David. Mum. He's your animal. Control him. Kick him to the curb. Make Hoboken decent again. Thank you very much.